Comfort was a beautiful woman living in Abuja. She had smooth brown skin, big eyes, and a smile that made people stare. She loved to dress nicely and wear perfume that filled the room. Everyone said her husband, Daniel, was lucky to have such a fine wife. But behind closed doors, Comfort was very lazy. She never cooked unless she was hungry, and even then she ordered food online. She left plates in the sink for days, and her clothes covered every chair. The floor was always dirty, and the bedroom smelled like body spray and dust mixed together. Daniel worked hard at his job, but when he came home, all he saw was mess. He tried to complain, but Comfort always shut him up with a kiss. She was good in bed, and she knew that was the only thing keeping Daniel quiet. He loved her, but every night he wished she cared more about their home. His friends' wives cooked, cleaned, and even helped their husbands save money. But Comfort just scrolled through her phone all day, watching videos and gossiping about celebrities. She said, "I can't come and kill myself doing housework. Abuja has too many stress already." Months passed and Daniel's patience began to fade. He started eating out more often and coming home late. Comfort didn't notice. She was too busy painting her nails or taking selfies. When he asked her to help with small things, she got angry. "I'm not your maid," she said. "You can hire one if you're tired." So Daniel did, but Comfort fought with every maid he brought. One evening, Daniel came home to find his house stinking of spoiled food. The sink was full, and the bed was messy. Comfort was on the couch, sleeping in her silk gown with the TV still on. Something inside him broke. That night, while Comfort slept, he wrote a short note and left it on the table. "I love you, but I can't live like this anymore." Then he left for his friend's place. When Comfort woke up the next morning, Daniel was gone. At first, she laughed, thinking he just needed space. But when she read the note, her heart raced. She ran around the house, calling his name, but no one answered. For the first time, she saw how dirty her home was, the smell, the flies, the mess. She sat on the floor crying, but pride wouldn't let her call Daniel. Days passed, and he still didn't return. Out of desperation, she went to the salon and told her friends she had a plan. "I'll go to his village and bring him a wife," she said. "When he sees how stressful another woman can be, he'll miss me." Her friends laughed, saying it was a bad idea, but Comfort was determined. She believed no woman could satisfy Daniel like she did. So she packed her small bag, wore her best wig, and took a night bus to Daniel's village, ready to bring back trouble she didn't expect. Comfort arrived in Daniel's village after a long dusty bus ride. The place was quiet and green, with goats walking freely and children playing by the roadside. She didn't like it. "How do people live without power or internet?" she muttered. When she reached Daniel's family house, his mother, Mama Grace, looked surprised. "Comfort, what brings you here?" she asked. Comfort forced a smile and said, "Mama, I came to visit and help you a little." Mama Grace welcomed her but noticed how she looked around with disgust. Comfort couldn't hide her city pride. She hated the pit toilet, the bucket bath, and the smoke from the cooking fire. That evening, as they sat outside, Comfort told Mama Grace that Daniel had been working too hard and needed someone to support him. She pretended to care, but her plan was already forming. "Mama, I think we should find him another wife, a simple girl who can help in the house," she said. Mama Grace's eyes widened. "You want another wife for your husband?" she asked slowly. Comfort smiled. "Yes, Mama. He deserves help. You know city life is not easy." Deep down, she believed a village wife would make Daniel miss her soft, easy life in Abuja. The next morning, Mama Grace took Comfort to the market to meet a young girl named Amora. Amora was 19, tall and quiet, helping her mother sell vegetables. She greeted Comfort politely, and Comfort immediately liked her. She thought, "This one is too innocent. She won't last 1 week with Daniel." That night, Comfort slept with a proud smile. She imagined Daniel getting angry when Amora entered their house. "He will see that no woman can be like me," she whispered to herself. Mama Grace shook her head and prayed quietly for her son. She could feel trouble coming, but Comfort was too proud to see it. When it was time to return to Abuja, she took Amora along, smiling confidently. When they arrived in Abuja, Amora looked amazed. The city lights, tall buildings, and noisy traffic made her hold her small bag tightly. Comfort acted like a boss, waving her hand. "Don't worry, you'll get used to it," she said. When they reached the house, Amora gasped. The living room was messy, clothes were everywhere, and the air smelled like leftover perfume and old food. Comfort laughed. "Don't mind the mess, I've been busy," she said. Amora started cleaning immediately without being told. Comfort sat on the couch, watching her and thinking, "Good, at least she can clean while I rest." Later that night, Daniel came home. When he opened the door and saw Amora, he froze. "Who is this?" he asked. Comfort stood up and smiled sweetly. "She's the new helper, Mama found her for us," she said. Daniel looked confused but said nothing. That night, he couldn't sleep. He felt something strange, a mix of confusion and curiosity, about this quiet village girl who seemed cleaner and kinder than his own wife. Weeks passed after Amora arrived in Abuja. The house changed completely. She cleaned, cooked, and made the place smell fresh. Daniel was surprised every day by how peaceful things felt. Comfort noticed it too, but she pretended not to care. She woke up late, scrolled on her phone, and let Amora handle everything. Soon, Amora began to look weak in the mornings. She threw up often and got tired easily. Comfort thought it was stress, but when Mama Grace visited and saw her, she smiled knowingly. "My daughter, you are with child," she said gently. Amora's hands shook as she covered her mouth. Comfort laughed loudly, thinking it was a joke. But when the clinic confirmed the pregnancy, her laughter stopped. She stared at Amora, speechless. "Pregnant? Here?" Her chest felt heavy. That night, she couldn't eat or sleep. She remembered how she had gone to the village to bring this same girl. Now the girl was carrying her husband's child. Comfort stayed inside for days, her eyes swollen from crying. When Daniel finally came home, she shouted, "How could you do this to me?" He looked at her calmly and said, "Comfort, you were the one who brought Amora here. You said she should help in the house and take care of me. You opened this door." His words cut deep. Comfort's mouth trembled. "So you just decided to sleep with her?" she screamed. Daniel sighed. "I didn't plan it, but she treats me with peace and respect, things you stopped giving a long time ago." Then he walked away. Comfort broke down crying. She hit the wall, tore her wrapper, and cursed herself. Amora stayed in her room quietly, afraid to come out. The sound of Comfort's crying filled the house every night. Mama Grace called and begged her to calm down, saying, "My daughter, you brought this girl yourself. Don't fight what you started." Comfort refused to listen. She said she would never accept the pregnancy. But deep down, she knew it was too late. Her plan had backfired in the worst way. Months passed and Amora's belly grew bigger. Daniel became even kinder to her. He took her to the clinic and made sure she ate well. Comfort watched with silent anger. The house that once belonged to her now felt like a stranger's home. She tried to cook and dress up to get Daniel's attention, but he only thanked her politely. One evening, she cooked his favorite meal and served it, hoping he'd praise her. Instead, he said, "You should rest, Comfort. You don't have to compete with anyone." The words stung her like a slap. That night, Comfort cried until morning. She blamed everyone except herself. "This girl came to destroy my marriage," she said, pacing angrily. She started hiding Amora's things and insulting her for small mistakes. When Amora stayed silent, it made her even angrier. Daniel noticed the tension but refused to argue. "Stop fighting her," he told Comfort one night. "You made this choice. Now live with it." Those words broke her heart. She began to realize Daniel wasn't defending her anymore, he was protecting Amora. And for the first time, Comfort felt the fear of losing everything she once took for granted. Comfort couldn't stand the sight of Amora anymore. Every time she saw her round belly, she felt fire in her chest. She began shouting at her for no reason. "You are lazy. You eat too much. You're pretending to be innocent." Amora said nothing. She just kept cleaning, cooking, and avoiding fights. Daniel noticed but stayed quiet because he didn't want stress in the house. That silence made Comfort even angrier. She felt invisible, like a stranger in her own home. One day, when Amora was in the kitchen, Comfort poured salt inside the pot of soup she was cooking and walked away smiling. She wanted Daniel to hate Amora's food. Later, she saw Amora adding more pepper and water to fix the soup. She had noticed the problem and corrected it. Daniel stopped talking much to Comfort. He avoided her and spent more time caring for Amora. She started drinking in secret to forget her pain. The once beautiful woman who loved perfume and fine clothes now looked tired and pale. Her eyes lost their glow. Amora still tried to be kind, but Comfort hated her kindness even more. "Stop pretending," she snapped one afternoon. "You're happy you took my place." Amora looked at her sadly and said, "I never wanted your place. You gave it away yourself." Those words broke something inside Comfort. She slapped Amora across the face. Daniel came home just in time to see it. "Enough," he shouted. "You have destroyed this home with your bitterness." For the first time, he packed a small bag and moved into the guest room. That night, Comfort sat alone in the dark, crying quietly. She finally began to see what she had become, not a victim, but the author of her own pain. A month later, something unexpected happened. Comfort missed her period. At first, she thought it was stress, but when she went to the hospital, the nurse smiled and said, "Congratulations, madam, you're 2 months pregnant." Comfort froze. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But when she got home and told Daniel, his face lit up. For the first time in months, he hugged her. "Maybe this is a new start for us," he said softly. Comfort felt proud again. She believed God had finally given her a way to win back her husband's love. Suddenly, she started smiling and acting sweet again. Amora was happy too and helped Comfort around the house. But Comfort began to change. She started using her pregnancy as power. "I'm the real wife now," she told herself. "Daniel will never leave me." When Comfort was 5 months pregnant, she convinced Daniel to send Amora back to the village. "She's causing me stress," Comfort said. "It's not good for the baby." Daniel didn't want more drama, so he agreed, but his heart was heavy. The next morning, Amora packed her small bag. She held her stomach and whispered, "God, you know the truth." Amora climbed into a taxi and looked back one last time. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the car drove away. After Amora left, the house felt empty, but Comfort didn't care. She finally felt free and in control. She cleaned the house once, cooked jollof rice, and even surprised Daniel with breakfast in bed. She thought everything would return to normal. But Daniel's smile was small and distant. He didn't talk much. Comfort's belly began to grow, but not from a baby. She was faking it. She bought a soft foam from the market and tied it around her stomach every morning. When Daniel came home, she walked slowly and rubbed her belly, pretending to feel tired. Everyone believed she was pregnant. She even lied to her mother-in-law on the phone, saying, "The doctor said everything is fine." Daniel looked happy again, and Comfort felt safe. But her fake pregnancy became harder to hide. Sometimes Daniel asked to go with her to the clinic, and she would quickly lie that the doctor had traveled. When she bathed, she locked the door tightly. At night, she pushed her fake belly aside so she could sleep. The guilt was eating her slowly, but she refused to stop. She believed if she told the truth, Daniel would hate her forever. "I will make it real later," she whispered. "Once Amora is gone, I'll find a way." She didn't know that her lies were building a fire that would soon burn her own house down. Far away in her village, Amora lived quietly in her late grandmother's small house. Her pregnancy was heavy now. She was 9 months along. She spent her mornings washing clothes for neighbors to earn small money for food. One afternoon, while she was rinsing clothes by the stream, an old woman appeared. She wore a clean white wrapper and smiled warmly. "My child, you look tired," the woman said. Amora smiled back and said, "I'm fine, Ma. I'm just waiting for my baby." The woman nodded and touched her belly gently. "You have suffered, but your tears will bring blessings." Then the woman removed a small gold bangle from her wrist and placed it on Amora's palm. "Keep this," she said softly. "It will remind you that God still sees you." Before Amora could thank her, the woman was gone, just like that. Amora looked around, confused, but felt peace inside her for the first time in months. That night, she dreamt of a bright light and heard a voice saying, "Your pain will turn to joy." She woke up crying softly and held the bangle close. She didn't know that her time to give birth, and her miracle, was just a few days away. By the 8th month of her fake pregnancy, Comfort was exhausted. Every morning, she had to fix the foam on her belly and tie it tightly before Daniel woke up. Sometimes it slipped, and she had to pretend she was in pain just to distract him. Daniel started getting excited, planning to buy baby clothes. Comfort's heart raced whenever he talked about it. Soon, she would say quickly. She even downloaded baby pictures online and showed them to her friends, claiming they were ultrasound results. The lies were getting heavier than the fake belly. She started avoiding everyone, locking herself in her room most days. What she didn't know was that Daniel's mother was planning a surprise visit to see her new grandchild, a visit that would uncover everything. Meanwhile, in the quiet village, Amora went into labor one stormy night. The rain poured heavily, and thunder shook the sky. She was alone, crying in pain and calling for help. But no one heard her because the nearest house was far away. Suddenly, she saw a soft light shining in the room. It was the same old woman she met by the stream. "Do not be afraid," the woman said gently. "Push." Amora obeyed, and within minutes, a baby boy was born, healthy and crying loudly. She wrapped him in her only clean wrapper and wept with joy. When the rain stopped, neighbors came running and helped her. They were shocked to see how calm she looked after giving birth alone. Amora smiled through her tears and looked at the gold bangle on her wrist. She named the baby Chisholm, meaning God is with me. That night, as she held her baby close, she felt a strange sense of strength. She didn't hate Comfort anymore. She only prayed that Daniel would one day know the truth and meet his son. A few weeks later, Daniel's mother arrived in Abuja without telling anyone. She came with gifts, baby clothes, food, and a small bag of money. When she knocked on the door, Comfort's heart almost stopped. "Mama, you didn't tell me you were coming," she said, forcing a smile. Mama laughed and said, "I came to see my grandchild." "Where is my daughter-in-law?" Comfort froze. She went to her village," she stammered. Mama frowned. "Village? She's supposed to be 9 months now. Where's the baby?" Comfort's voice broke as she tried to lie again, but before she could speak, the foam under her clothes shifted and fell slightly. Mama's eyes widened. In shock, she shouted, "What is that on your stomach?" Daniel came running from the bedroom, confused. Comfort started crying and begged, "Please forgive me, I didn't mean to lie." The truth poured out, every single thing she had done, from the fake pregnancy to sending Amora away. Daniel stood frozen, too hurt to speak. His mother slapped her lightly and said, "You brought shame to yourself, not anyone else." Daniel packed a small bag and left the house that same night. Comfort fell to the floor crying, realizing her worst fear had finally come true. She had lost everything because of her lies. Daniel arrived in the village 2 days later. He didn't tell anyone he was coming. When he reached Amora's small house, he heard a baby crying inside. His heart pounded. He knocked softly, and when Amora opened the door, she froze in shock. Her eyes filled with tears. For a long moment, they just stared at each other, both speechless. Then Daniel saw the baby in her arms. The child had his eyes, there was no doubt. He fell to his knees and cried. "Amora, I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't protect you. I believed the wrong person." "It's okay," she whispered. "God has already healed my heart." Daniel held the baby close, feeling peace for the first time in months. He stayed in the village for a few days, helping Amora and the baby. Everyone welcomed him kindly. When he was ready to leave, he asked Amora to return to Abuja with him, but she said no. "Not yet," she said softly. "Let me raise our child in peace. When the time is right, I'll come." Daniel respected her wish and promised to send her money every month. Back in the city, Comfort was alone in the house. Her fake belly was gone, her friends had disappeared, and her beauty had faded. She sat on the floor, holding her wedding photo and crying. "If only I was content," she whispered. Months later, she heard that Daniel's son was growing strong, and guilt filled her heart every day. Amora raised her child with peace and hard work, just as she had promised. Daniel visited often, grateful that life had given him a second chance. The past could not be erased, but it had taught them all the greatest truth, that honesty and kindness always win in the end.